Welcome to another episode of Unpacked. Thank you for joining us here, even with our live studio audience today. Come on. We are in week 3 of this Upset the Vows series. This week's sermon topic was called Let's Get Naked. Of course, Tim has the sermon title called Let's Get Naked. And listen, my very favorite and most handsome guest is back with me again. Please welcome Timmy Ross.
I love you, baby.
Hi, baby. I'm so glad you're back again.
We're going to keep
week.
Doing this. I'm gonna extend this series to 44 weeks.
I'm here for it.
Just so I can do this.
Extend it, honey.
I will.
And we will just keep unpacking for 44 weeks.
All right.
I'm here for it.
All right.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, today's sermon, Let's Get Naked. This was incredible. If you have not seen it yet, please go back and watch it. I even want to say before we unpack it, because it was so good. And this is going to just open up more. We're just going to dig deeper in what Let's Get Naked means. Well, I'll tell you what it does not mean, and it's not talking about physicality of being naked.
Right.
So I want you to go back and watch the sermon so that you know more about what Let's Get Naked is about.
Yeah.
All right. So you did Let's Get Naked, and we started in Genesis.
Yep.
And you were talking about how in the beginning, when God made Adam.
Yep.
And when God made Eve. And you were breaking down that being naked is not, you're not physically talking about, you're not talking about the physicality of being naked, but more the emotional stance of being naked with one another.
Right.
And then you broke it out in Genesis how in 2, it says God made man. But technically in the Bible, it doesn't say that Adam knew Eve until chapter 4.
That's right.
Which shows the physicality of them being naked and being one with each other.
Right.
But prior to that, they probably had more of the emotional connection.
Correct.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah. So if I'm just going through the sequence, right, of God speaking Adam and Eve into existence in chapter 1, male and female, he created he, them.
That's right.
But there were no bodies. He spoke them into existence.
Yes.
They didn't have any bodies yet.
Right.
So in chapter number 2, he takes the dust of the earth and he forms man from the dust.
That's right.
He blows into him the breath of life. Scripture says man becomes a living soul. Then he says, it's not good that this guy is alone.
That's right.
Right? And so he puts him to sleep. He takes a rib out of Adam.
Come on.
And forms the woman. He makes the man, he formed that woman.
Come on.
Right? That's why,
shaped her up, huh?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was made.
Right.
Just like formed, right? Like, there's man. He
took his time.
He really took his time here.
Yeah.
You know, he did that. And then he brings that woman, that man with a womb, back to the body she came out of. And they became one person. I believe the one person they became was started when Adam said, finally. Like, I've named all of these animals.
Yeah.
But you are bone of my bone. You are flesh of my flesh.
Yes.
You shall be called a man with a womb.
That's right.
I can relate to you in a way I cannot relate to anything else God created.
That's right. That's right.
And so there's a connection that I have with you now that's completely different than the connection I can have to anything else that God has made thus far.
This was very good because it's showing that the woman is made for Adam.
Yes, that's right.
Made perfectly fit for him.
Right.
Because the animals were not perfectly fit for him.
Right.
He didn't find a connection with the animals.
Right, absolutely.
Right? And so God had to create somebody that did connect with Adam. Okay, there's so many things we want to unpack. There's so many things because, you know, living with this man, he will oftentimes maybe rattle off or what's going on in his head. So we kind of get to pre-unpack it a little bit sometimes at home. We just kind of get to talk through it. So there's so many good things that, you know, we get to say at home that sometimes you forget to say when, actually church time comes around. But okay, we're going to get to that part. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that part in a minute. But as we continue on in the sermon, you had a lot of great points that you said. So let's go and talk about the naked part, right? Because you like that part.
I do.
You like the naked part.
I like it a lot.
He's so fresh. Okay.
A lot.
We're talking about emotional nakedness.
I like it a lot. No, I do. And the reason why, baby, is because, as you know, I spent a lot of my life with a lot of secrets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was sexually abused when I was 8 years old by a neighbor that lived across the street from me. And it's the first time that I consciously told a lie. A lie that I knew I couldn't share. And so from the age of 8 years old to age 19, I became masterful at keeping secrets. And at 19, my mom actually caught me looking at porn at like 2 o'clock in the morning. If you ever want to be embarrassed as a child, that's probably the most embarrassing moment you can have. But that night, I found freedom. Now, 6 months later, I gave my life to Christ, but I was still, what I say is I was a born-again porn addict, right? There's so many people that think as soon as you give your life to Jesus, you look at your hands and they look new, you look at your feet and they do too. A lot has changed for you. They tell you. A lot has changed for you spiritually. It takes time to get that same thing to happen physically.
That's right.
Emotionally.
That's right.
And so for me, I was highly promiscuous. I had an addiction to porn. And when I showed up in our marriage, I showed up with secrets. I showed up in our marriage deathly afraid to get naked with you emotionally because I felt like that was going to be what made you run from me as opposed to running towards me.
Right.
So.
And the problems that caused was the more he held a secret, it made me want to run from him.
That's correct.
So the secrets that he kept, I knew that it was there, but because he wouldn't share, that's the part that distanced me. It wasn't the secrets that he had.
Right.
But isn't that interesting that you say, even from a child, a lot of us learn to have these negative behaviors from childhood.
0 to 10.
Yeah. And so they learn to keep secrets. They learn to tell lies. They learn to be dishonest. And if it's not sort of addressed then and checked, then guess what? It goes with you as you become a teenager, as you become an adult, as you get married. And so these same sort of besetting sins continue on, and you bring this childhood baggage into your adult life.
That's correct.
And your adult marriage.
Right.
And so it just causes perpetual problems. Yeah. But the thing is, it's the lie of the enemy that he tries to trick you mentally to say, don't say that. Don't tell him or her because they can't handle it. Well, but how do you know? Right? It's the lie. So if he can keep you from sharing, if he can keep you from having the emotional connection, then he knows that he has the biggest footprint in the first part of destroying your marriage and your union.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about you can't get naked alone. You had 4 points.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Well, you sort of had 3 points and then 4 points. It was a lot of points you had.
Well, I had bullets and I had points.
Yeah. There's bullets and then a point.
Yeah, I try to make that distinction, but sometimes.
All right. Let's start with your bullets.
Okay.
All right. I wrote it down. Yeah. Let's get naked. It's not about a physical nakedness, but is about the emotional. So he said nakedness is not about, it's the less you wear, it's more about the emotional connection. So you talked about in Genesis 2, Adam and Eve had an emotional connection before they knew each other. Do you want to elaborate any more?
Yeah, what I would say is, again, if we're going to just read what's there, what we find is he is happy to have someone he can relate to.
Yeah.
He is happy to have somebody that he has this connection with. And it's not based on sexual connection.
Yep.
It's based on, I can talk to this person and relate to this person, because he couldn't relate to the other. Now, let me say this part. So today, when I was getting dressed this morning, I always go back over the notes before I leave the house. I'll just, let me go back over.
You want to go there?
I have to.
You ready to go there?
Yes. Because it fits into this part.
It fits into the whole thing.
So I'm reading through and I'm okay. And again, I made mention of it in the sermon, but I have time to really ponder elaborate on it, where God says it's not good for him to be alone. I must make a helper that's suitable for him.
That's right.
Let's name these animals.
Right.
What a pivot, right? Hey, I've noticed something that you're deficient in.
Yeah.
I could just put him to sleep right now, but he goes, no, let's go name all the birds of the air and the wild animals. Let's name them all now. And then he comes back and puts him to sleep after he named all the animals.
That's true.
He comes back and puts him to sleep, wakes him up, and he goes, finally. Well, why does it hit him like that? Because he had named all this other stuff that he couldn't connect to, that he couldn't relate to.
That's right.
Now, that's good all by itself. But that good old Holy Spirit, hey, y'all, this is one of the wittiest people in the universe.
Yep.
The Holy Spirit said, I could not believe he said it like this. I couldn't wait.
It was good. It was so good.
He said, yeah, that's why so many relationships get called animals before they meet the one that makes them.
Yeah. So for example, you can be with someone and if you don't like him, oh, he's a dog. She's a cougar.
She's a bee.
She's a bee. All these
sugar daddy,
animal names.
Sugar mama, sugar baby, dog, evil. I'm naming all this stuff I can't relate to.
I can't relate to the cougar.
I can't relate to that monkey. I can't relate to that crocodile. I can't relate to that snake. Yep. I can't relate to that rat. You're calling them all this stuff.
That's
right. But you're naming them, but you're also enlightened that I can't relate to them. So what has happened, even for a lot of single people,
that's good, baby,
is that they have generalized based on an experience they've had with a person. All men are.
That's right.
This. All women are that.
That's right.
No, the woman you interacted with was that.
That's right.
Or that man you interacted with was that. But the person that you're supposed to marry, you're supposed to go, finally.
That's right. Yes.
This is who God had for me.
That's right.
From the beginning.
You were talking earlier in the service about when you are naked and transparent with one another. It's almost like it's a hard thing to do because there is a vulnerability. You have to be 100% vulnerable to become naked.
Right.
100%. And you don't know what the other person is going to, how they're going to respond. Are they going to reject you?
Yes.
Are they going to try to shame you?
Yes.
You know, and I think that's a hard thing because many people face those issues.
Yes.
How do I really get naked? How do I really become transparent? Because my significant other that I did choose to be with, right? They may not be in the same place that I am. They may be judgmental. They may be critical. And so I find it hard to want to be transparent with them. I want to, but I almost have more fear to say anything than I do wanting to not say anything because I don't know how they're going to react. And so you talked earlier about your significant other is a mirror to you. And sometimes you could just be afraid to see another side of you. I think absolutely. I jumped on a couple of things there.
No, you're fine. Again, I'm a literalist. So when I read the Bible, I'm taking it literally, right? And if the two become one, and Eve came out of Adam, then one was made two to be brought back into one.
Yes.
So you are me. I am you. And until I married you, I could not see all of me.
Right.
I saw some of me.
Right.
But I could not see all of me. Mm-hmm. I cannot see my eyebrows right now. I know they're there.
Right.
I can move them up and down.
Yep. But you can't.
I can't see them. I can barely see my nose. I'm glad for this big old nose I got, and I can flare my nostrils. I can barely see it. I cannot see my teeth right now.
Yep.
So I can see my arms, I can see my hands, I can see my legs, I can see my feet. I need help seeing my face.
There's things about you.
There's
that
things
you
about me
cannot
that I
see,
cannot see.
And you need someone to point it out and show
Until I had me in you to look at me and say, you have something right there.
Right.
I could have been walking around with lettuce in my teeth all day if I didn't have somebody looking at me.
Right.
Well, in the same way, somebody can pick up on that physically, right? Or you got a little snot, right? You need to wipe your, right? You got a little pride right there. I need you to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The way your tone when you said that.
That's right.
Like I'm not sure. And when we're not used to seeing those parts of us, we get upset. Anybody beside me can be honest. When your spouse points out something to you that you know is the truth, let's be real, you know it's the truth. You're like, I did not want you to say that, right? I saw it. I don't need you saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Here's the other thing that's very, very hard to process. When you don't see what they see.
That's right.
When you're like, you keep saying this, but I don't see this.
Right, right.
And you're having this breakdown in communication to where you want to know what they're experiencing, but then you're kind of defensive.
That's the big D word.
Right?
Yes.
I'm defensive because that ain't me. I'm telling you, that's not what I'm doing right now.
In your heart, you don't want it to be you.
So now, and there are some instances where it's not even you. The thing that you have to do in those instances is stay curious. You cannot be offended and curious at the same time.
But that happens all the time.
Exactly. You cannot be defensive and curious at the same time.
But that happens all the time.
So what I've learned to do is if Juliette is showing me something about me that I do not see, instead of putting my wall up, instead of instantly clapping back, that ain't me, no, I didn't. What was it about what I said that made you feel that way?
Yeah. And let's be very clear, guys. Tim and I have been together 23 years, okay?
Yep.
So even what we're telling you now is not how it was for 23 years.
No, not at all.
Okay? We have been through all of the things.
Yes.
Can you say all the things?
All the things.
Okay? We have been through all of the things. And so we are at a place now where the responses are, did I say that? Oh, I didn't mean to say it that way, et cetera, et cetera. But it wasn't always like that.
No.
Okay? So I just want you to know, I don't want you to think that this is a picture of perfection if we've never been through anything. No, no, no. We're here because we can share with you, we have been there and done that.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
So I just wanted to be very clear with that very quickly.
I'm glad you said that because one of the reasons why we have authority to speak on everything we're speaking about is because we did the work.
Yes, we did. Hard work.
We did.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Consistently.
Consistently.
Yes. Consistent hard work.
Work. Because that's what a good marriage takes, is hard work. And so even when we talk sometimes and we might be answering some questions and it may seem like we might come across a little firm or that it might even sound a little harsh, it might land like that.
Yep.
The truth of the matter is we know what it takes to get a six-pack in your marriage.
That's right. And we can't, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off that, we know how much work we put into this marriage, and we can't stand, I mean, it's almost a disdain when we come across couples that don't want to put in even half the amount of work.
No.
but then they want the outcome.
But you want a six-pack.
That we have. And
off 2 push-ups.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. And so we get very passionate, very spirited when it comes to couples or one individual in the relationship that's just lazy and does not want to do what they said they would do when they gave their vows. And they don't want to be a man or woman of their word. It's almost like, I don't have time for that. Come back when you're desperate. You know, come back when you're desperate. It's the truth.
That was good.
It is the truth. So, yeah, so
come back when you're desperate.
Yes.
Somebody needs to put that in the chat.
Make sure they put that in the live chat. Come back when you're desperate.
All right. I can't get naked alone. That's what you have your spouse for. That's who God brought in your life.
That's right.
It's for that spouse.
Right.
For you to get naked with that spouse.
That's right.
With your spouse.
Right.
Just to be very clear, not somebody else's spouse. Not a single woman or man. Not a girlfriend. Not a boyfriend. You are to get naked with your spouse and nobody else's.
Yeah. Figure it out. Figure them out. This is your Rubik's Cube. Figure them out. My intrigue with Juliette has lasted for 23 years. For 23 years, I'm figuring her out. When I think I found out and cracked that Da Vinci Code,
I just throw a sideball.
you know what I'm saying? She come up with something new, not purposely, but as you're living through life, as life happens to you, as you experience life, you have 2 kids, we have 3 miscarriages, right? We
go through life.
We go through life and people die and jobs change and there's ups and downs and your body starts changing, all that kind of stuff. Listen, you gotta figure these people out. Again, the same person.
Yeah, because you're gonna go through the same thing or something different. So when one spouse might start changing, right, or going through a different season, might not be at the same time you're changing and going through a different season.
That's correct.
Just wait.
That's right.
You are going to want them to express the same grace. Okay? You are going to want them to express because they're not going to have all the answers of why.
Right.
Their mood may swing.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, there's no red button. There's no power button for hormones. Okay? There's nothing that, an indicator that goes off to, oh, my hormones are going off. You know, it's taking me over here, it's taking me over there. You don't know until you're in the moment.
That's right.
And so sometimes you got to be able to go with the punches, roll with the punches, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Want me to tag you in?
Yeah, please.
All right. Go for it.
So,
Your hands are cold.
My hands are cold.
Yes.
It's all good. So, when I drive to church on Sunday mornings, I share my location with 2 or 3 people. It's 2 or 3 people in the building that I feel like needs to know when I'm going to arrive. I share my location with them.
I already know where you're going with this. Good job, honey.
In our marriage, we have to constantly share our location.
That's so good.
Where are you now?
The snaps, there they are. I'm loving the snap crew.
I need to know where you are right now.
Yeah.
I know where you were
30 minutes ago.
30 minutes ago, right?
Yep.
But where are you now?
Yep.
I know where you were
a year ago,
but where are you now? I know where you were when we got married, but we're about to have our 3rd anniversary or our 7th anniversary or our 10th anniversary.
That's great.
I need you to share your location with me. Don't have me over here guessing.
That's right.
About where you are and you mad I don't know where you are right now.
That's right.
There are so many couples that wind up broken down communicatively because they assume their spouse should know where they are.
That's right.
When the truth is, you have to tell me. I'm just not that smart.
Yeah.
I wish my discernment was on point and my word of knowledge was always popping off and God gave me a word that today you needed this from me.
Yeah.
I need a cheat sheet. Tell me what you need and I'll give it to you.
Now, here's where the frustration comes in. Is sometimes you could be married for some time and one spouse will think, oftentimes I will say it's mostly the woman that says, they should know by now. They should know me by now. They should know where I'm at by now. If I do this, they should know. And it's so easy to fall into that state of being of they should know. And I had to learn that too. Like, they just don't know. Or he just doesn't know. Like, he's not paying that part of attention, right? And so I had to, when I always felt like that, I had to think, man, he can pay attention to these other things. Why isn't he paying attention to this area? But he doesn't have ESP, right? And I didn't tell him. I just wanted him to know. So part of that is unfair on me to give him an expectation that it wasn't his capacity to just know all things. I may be easier to tell on him when he is having, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean is as easy to tell for me. And so I can't be frustrated because I can do something he can't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
We want the spouse, or we expect the spouse to have strengths in an area that we have. Mm-hmm. And we expect them to operate in our strengths.
That's good.
And
that's good, girl.
That is a problem that we come across all the time because we don't recognize it as that. And it makes us frustrated when they're not doing what we would do.
Right.
If that was me, I would have done this. Why didn't he do that?
That's really good.
And that is because their strengths are different from ours. And if we really turn the tables, they would have a strength that we fail at on another spectrum. So we can't be so quick to criticize and so quick to judge when things don't always look the way
that's good.
We expect it or want it to be or look.
Yeah. So I like being naked with her, because when you've lived a life full of secrets, and then it finally
yes.
It finally dawns on you, I don't have to. I can tell you anything.
Yeah.
And like, you're not running away, you're actually running towards me. Mm-hmm. And you've been waiting for me to do this?
Yes.
Like all these years?
Yes.
I like not having secrets. I like being able to tell my wife. Now, when I say like and enjoy are two different things, right? I like insurance. I don't like paying for it. So don't mistake liking something with enjoying something, right? Mm-hmm. I like being naked, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean I always enjoy it. I don't like showing up vulnerable to Juliette at times when it's something I feel like I should be
under control.
I should like with porn, right? Mm-hmm. I hate that I still need help in that area. Like, I would love to say, like, I'm just victorious and I don't struggle with it and it don't bother me and I don't care what we watch. Nah, I gotta close my eyes like an 11-year-old on certain movies because that thing will jack with me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when it gets to like a certain level, I have to come in and say, baby, I need prayer. Dang it. I don't feel like talking to you about this, but it's back. Right? And we talk about it, and every time I open up, she's like, oh, thank you, baby. I appreciate it. Now, I wish I was just strong and didn't have to do it, but
now let's say this. When you would just say it, what happens after you would just tell me that you've had a thought or whatever the case is?
We were closer than we had ever been.
But did you feel free?
Absolutely. That thing shrunk so fast.
It's just
the moment I say it, hey baby, I'm struggling with this, or this is a big temptation today. The enemy's like, dang it, I didn't know you was gonna talk to her. I thought you was just gonna try to fight it alone. Mm-hmm. This is what made Eve and Adam's sin so egregious.
Yeah.
They didn't confer with each other.
Yeah. You broke that down so great today.
Yeah, they didn't confer with each other. They just literally, they acted instead of talking it out.
That's right. You made a great point about Adam was going into the garden to find leaves to cover himself up once he got exposed to the shame. And you brought a point of sometimes that's what we do when we feel shame. We don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because he didn't talk to Eve, but what they did was he went and just worked. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you go and drown yourself in your work. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you drown yourself in being out late or just staying away to avoid
playing video games for 5 hours.
Yeah, just to avoid
whatever
the issue.
You can do to cover up.
Yeah.
You just go cover up.
Yeah.
And there is such Satan hates a married couple that acts like Christ and his bride.
100%.
And what do we do in our relationship with Jesus? Bring all your cares to him because he cares, right? His yoke is easy, his burden is light. He's never going to put more on you than you can bear. We quote all those scriptures and we see it in the relationship we have with him. We have to work to see it in the relationship that we have with each other.
Yes, but the thing, yes, that is correct. And so to piggyback off that, I just want to emphasize that the word shame, okay, we say it loosely sometimes, but it's a very powerful word because shame will bind you. Okay, shame will keep you silent. Shame will mute you. Shame will bring you into depression. Shame is a heavy word that we often sort of use loosely. But shame will cause despair to set in, and it will cause destruction in your own personal life and in your marriage.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so because of what you are saying, shame is that one factor of, I can't bring my cares to Jesus. He won't understand. I'm too shameful to tell him. I'm too shameful to be vulnerable. And so the impact of shame is, it's a crater. It's a crater in your life. It's a crater in your soul. The impact is greater than you think. And so there's many people that are bound by shame that we quote the scriptures like you're saying, but they don't know how to actually execute bringing that care to him.
Yeah. I feel like practice makes perfect. And when what we're talking about showing up naked, it's just, you just got to practice. Somebody has to go first.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
It doesn't feel good, and you don't want to do it.
It's like handing somebody an egg and you just don't want them to crack it. It's like, this is, I'm bringing something to you. Your reaction might send me into my turtle shell, you know?
Yeah.
But I want to bring this to you. I want to share this with you. It's taken me everything to do it, but I want to practice showing up and being vulnerable where it really counts.
You can share this vulnerability. Sometimes the spouse, they may not know how to fully react. So we're praying that each spouse is going to be vulnerable to receive and hear what each other has to say. But with that being said, whatever it is that you're bringing, you also need to be willing to work on your stuff. You can't have this broken egg every single time. And it's just the same broken egg that you're constantly bringing back because you're not working on yourself.
That's good. That's very good.
Okay, so I want the vulnerability. We want you guys to get naked with each other, 100%. But it is draining and it is tiresome when it's only, I'm always bringing you this egg because I'm vulnerable or I got caught, but you're not doing anything in the meantime to get better and you're not taking any steps to better you. So there needs to be, on both parties, a self-evaluation and an honesty, whether that's you getting counseling for your own individual self or getting help. You need to make sure that you individually are also doing the work so that if you are bringing the eggs every time, and this is where I'm at, there needs to be some level of steps that I can say, okay, well, you know what? You are working on it. That gives me a confidence to know, okay, I'm gonna keep taking these eggs because I know that you're really trying. But don't keep coming every time you're not doing anything. It's just an excuse every time you got caught. See, that's another.
And that's not even true nakedness.
That's not.
Because true nakedness is not just a self-awareness. It's the plan.
That's right.
And it's the humility to say, I need help if I'm gonna change.
That's right.
I can't do this by myself. I need to be held accountable on this.
Yep. I want to be held accountable.
And I want to be held accountable on it. If you're getting caught,
that's not accountability.
That ain't accountability.
You just got caught.
That's not vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's you suck at sneaking.
Right.
You're just a whack liar. Like that's not, you're just not good at it, right? Like, right. So vulnerability, transparency makes you see through, but vulnerability is when you give me something that I wouldn't have seen without you showing me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking about Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something.
Do you all remember that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a callback.
Let me show you something. Oh, my favorite.
But that is the vulnerability is when I initiate showing you something that you wouldn't have seen unless I showed it to you.
Right.
If Eve would have went to Adam and said, baby, I need to tell you something. I'm really struggling with this one tree that's in the garden. For some reason, I can't take my eyes off of it. I'm so curious about the fruit.
Yeah.
I know that he said we shouldn't touch it, but man, this is really, she didn't ask for help.
Right.
And once he found out the conversation that had happened between her and the serpent, he didn't become the mirror to say, you know, you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
He just corroborated and joined her and went along with her. And again, he ultimately died with his bride when Adam is supposed to die for his bride. That's why Christ is called the second man, Adam, because he actually died for his bride the way that the first man, Adam, should have.
That's good, honey. Yeah, baby.
I got to unpack that.
Okay, now I do want to talk about something that we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Back to the getting naked, emotional connection. And maybe we said it earlier, but I want to make sure we emphasize this again because it is very important. And I have seen myself so many marriages getting destroyed because of us getting naked with the wrong people. Us getting naked with people that are not our spouse. And it has caused such division, devastation, and just a brokenness in the marriage. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about when you and your spouse are not in the best place, right? For a woman, they typically like to get their feelings out and talk and share and express and cry and vent. And I need somebody to talk to, right? Because whatever's happening with their spouse, they don't feel like they can talk with their spouse. And if there is, for a woman, another man that's right there, oh, what's wrong? I'm here. There is now, I'm bearing my soul and I'm giving you my heart and my soul. And I'm now find myself getting naked with somebody that is not my spouse. So now that I have been vulnerable and I've been open with this friend, stranger, whatever, who was available at the time of my need, and they may have said something to help, to aid, to comfort me, to make me feel better. Now I have some sort of connection with them. There is some connection that has formed because they have helped me in a way, almost as if I feel like I owe them something. So now, if he calls back, I need to answer the phone. If I see them again, oh, let's get a coffee, whatever the case is, because now they've helped me, and then now I want more. I was comforted.
That's good.
So this is the way that it works psychologically. So then now when you're back home with your spouse, you're free from your burden of whatever it was because you gave it to somebody. But now when you're back with your spouse and he or she is like, well, honey, what happened? How are you? Oh, I'm good. So now there's a disconnect because now the husband or spouse can't reach you.
Right.
And whether he or she did something wrong, we don't know if they're trying to come back to apologize. We don't know. We've sort of cut it off now because somebody here filled that void. And it is that emotional connection that is actually what causes affairs in a lot of marriages. And no, it might not be a physical affair, but that emotional affair is actually graver than the physical affair.
It absolutely is. I've seen many marriages be able to be restored from a physical act of adultery.
For sure.
But emotional.
Hard.
It's very, very hard because the physical one is difficult for a lot of people as well. But I've found that the emotional one far outweighs the physical one.
That's right.
Because, okay, you gave that person your body and you were stupid, okay? And you are stupid. And you're going to pay for that, right?
You may continue to be stupid for a long time.
Right?
In my head.
that can be restored. But when it's emotional, you've actually given that person something that should have been here.
That's right.
There, and the violation is actually, we've just seen, it's harder to recover on the emotional side than it is the physical side.
Right.
Again, I'm not minimizing if somebody's going through a relationship where there's been a physical affair, but I've just found that the emotional ones are the biggest breach because you've shared something outside of our union that for some reason you couldn't bring to me. Now, let me just say, I've seen people have emotional affairs with their parents. I've seen people have emotional affairs with their siblings.
Good.
It's not just you found some side chick or some side guy.
Whoever this person is.
Whoever this other person is, and you're telling them everything.
That's right.
But then you're not bringing that back to talk about that and unpack that in the actual relationship. That is a huge violation.
Yes, it is.
And again, if there's been an issue with communication, where I tried to bring it up before, but they flare up and all this kind of stuff, I'm telling you, y'all will not get through this without a third party.
That's right.
Intervening. You need
a quality third party.
Yes, you need somebody that's going to be able to coach you through it, because neither one of you know how to communicate.
Right.
You might be good communicating at this, but you ain't good communicating at that.
Right.
And the longer you stay out of someone coaching you through, the longer it's going to take before you all are actually naked in your marriage.
That's right.
So
you have to do the work for you individually, and if they don't want to do that work together with you, well, then that's something else you need to talk about. But make sure that you are doing your part and you're check boxing off everything as much as you can.
Yep.
Baby, this has been a really great chat. I know we delved into a little bit more, some deeper things today.
Yeah.
This Let's Get Naked Week 3 is incredible. If you have not seen it, I really want you to go back and watch Sunday's sermon of Week 3, Upset the Vows, Let's Get Naked. It will bless your whole soul. I know many of you are challenged in your marriage, and hopefully some of these things that we are unpacking is going to help you all get some help. We definitely have some marriage resources. Hopefully that'll be up in the screen for you to do, for you to connect with. And what I want for you is I'm going to challenge you to get naked with your spouse. I'm going to challenge you to be vulnerable with each other, with no defenses, with no rejection, with no taking it and criticizing. I'm gonna ask you to take each other by the hand and do something different. If you want the betterment of your marriage to succeed, there are gonna be some things that you have to do that makes you uncomfortable. And so I want you both to be able to start to share little by little and talk it through without judgment and being defensive. Thank you so much for joining us with this week on Unpacked. I want you to keep sending in your questions. I want you to keep sending in your comments. We're gonna have our Q&A session next. We're gonna answer as many of them as we can. Until then, I love you, we love you, God bless you, and we are praying for you in your marriage. See you next week.